And we're live. It is Wednesday, the 24th of November. This is the check-in. I'm here with Mike Gamache and Don Xanklin. Just a couple friends checking in on each other, seeing how everybody's doing, seeing what their week has been like. And if you want to say hi, check in with us. And
Definitely.
we'll enjoy the discussion. I know there's some things I want to talk about. And I know
Fire away.
first off, though, Dawn
Yeah.
produced a show, a
Yeah.
pop-up show,
Yeah, I'd like to hear about
in
that.
Ottawa.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I learned a lot about audience outreach and engagement. So while the show was awesome, it would have been lovely to have more people see it. But next
Right.
time, I think I've got the producing bug now.
It was a cute little venue. I really liked, and you actually had a professional videographer in there to help generate clips for the performers, which is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I think one of the things that happens with my own performances is that often, if I do remember to record, the recording quality isn't the best, and it
Hmm.
can be a little frustrating to put out work you're happy with, that you're proud of, and not be able to share it with anybody. So I was really glad that some really solid clips came out of there for folks.
Yeah, very nice. And yes, a 17-year-old performer.
Yes, yes.
So it all ages venue.
Yeah, definitely. It's a dry venue. It's the Origin Center, and was fantastic because the headliner of this event was 17 years old. So getting her into a place that serves alcohol can be challenging if it's a bar, but it was fantastic to give her the opportunity to have fantastic clips and and yeah, I was really glad to be able to see her perform live. I hadn't had that chance before.
Cool.
Super.
Yeah, no, she had a fantastic act outs. It was she looks younger than 17.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah. That is the curse of the black don't crack. You should see my ID card when I was, I think I was 18, and I got in Ontario. They had an age of majority card. I looked like
Right.
at least 12.
Well, I looked like I was about 12 or 13 until I was well into my 20s.
Yeah, same, same.
So,
I was 12 when I had my first card, which actually said I was 21, and
Oh,
people didn't bat an eye.
didn't bat an
oh.
eye.
Didn't
Wow.
bat. But I mean, I think I looked 21 from about the age of 14 on to about 30. I think 30 is
Yeah.
when I began to age.
Yeah.
I was the same height. Pretty scary.
In my
I'm finding it scary not being asked for ID now. So if I go to a cannabis shop or liquor shop, they're like
Yeah.
they're fine with it, and it makes me nervous. I'm thinking, what's happening?
That's still a little weird for me to say a cannabis shop,
Yeah.
Cannabis shop? Oh,
because
The pot stop.
I remember like you know uh, the closest to a cannabis shop when I was growing up, we called them head shops. The places
Yes.
that sold T-shirts, black lights,
That's
and
right.
songs.
smoking
Yeah,
Yeah,
accessories.
accessories,
yeah,
bongs, and yeah, water
yeah,
pipes and glass tubes, and yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
I don't know if Paul might remember this. John, I'm pretty sure it doesn't
mm,
would not catch this reference. Chillums,
chillin'.
Sorry,
chillums.
Whoops, my camera just went.
no.
A
You
chi-
read
a
that,
chi-
gentlemen.
a chillum was something that you used to sort of approximate a water pipe or a bong. It was something that it was a tube. It was usually a ceramic or porcelain tube that you would put a chunk of hashish in, light it up, and then you would hold it in your hand, grip your hand about it, making a kind of airtight seal with
Wow.
with the unit, and then you would suck air through the thing, and it would sort of like approximate a chamber where you could suck, because you wouldn't suck on the actual device, because the smoke coming in would be far too hot. So essentially, you burned your palms instead of your mouth.
I
But
think
it
I
was
needed
called a
better
chillum.
friends in high
It was
school.
called a
This
chillum.
we discovered that Mike Gamache was an old retrobate.
Oh yeah, my reprobate
Ski
days are
patrol.
behind me, but I was definitely reprobate. Yeah, actually, about the age thing again, just to come back for a second, just a little bit of a callback there. On my 18th birthday, I was with my group of my college CJEP buddies. We went to celebrate my 18th birthday at a brasserie because that meant I could legally get into the thing and they wouldn't card me every fucking time I showed up. And of course, on my 18th birthday, there were 7 other guys. I was the only one who was 18. The waiter comes up and looks all around the table, eyeballs me and says, "Can I see your cards?" And I pulled out my ID and my driver's license, and I showed him the card, and I was legal. And it took everything under the sun to say, "Are you going to card all these guys?"
Nope. And the birthday party.
Yeah, and it would have been the end of the birthday party. I would have drunk my beer by myself. Yeah. But it was like that until like I think the last time I was carded was in the United States. And believe it or not, I was 31. It was like, what? I'm 31. I've got a fucking wedding ring. I'm 31. I'm I've been coming here for years, and you card me today?
It happened to my brother. My brother's but 16 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough. I was old enough to sort of remember it. I think I was under 10, I believe. And we were in Bangor, Maine, and he got asked for ID buying beer, and he very proudly got it out, and the person went, "Oh, sorry," just
apologies. I've never gotten an apology before.
No, I never got an apology either. It's just like, oh, like boy, I feel really stupid now, but I'm not going to say a fucking word.
I had my going away party when I moved away from Nova Scotia the first time. I was, I think, 27. And I moved to Toronto. The last going out, we did a pub crawl, and there's only one place that asked us for ID. There was I had a fairly diverse group of friends, so I think one was 19, one was 20, younger ones, but the rest were around mid to late 20s, and we show up at this one place at cards, and it cards 3 of us: the 18-year-old, the 19-year-old, and me, 27.
Okay.
And I got the apology then.
Yeah.
Though there was one time, I think I was 16, and I had my brother's ID, and group of friends, we went in. There was one bar that was sort of notoriously lax, but apparently they got fined the week before.
So they had a bit of a crackdown.
So lax.
Yeah, so they had a guy at the door, but I didn't know this. So I go in, they ask for an ID, I hand them an ID, and they look at it and they realize that it's a real ID because it's not a fake ID.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
It's just my family has one face. So it's my brother's ID.
But it's your face.
and he looks at it. He goes, "Oh crap, you're about as old as I am." And I grab it back, and I just went, "Yeah, but I age better." And I walk on in.
Oh.
And I don't realize that all my friends behind me, because I'm not looking back, can't get in.
Oh.
So I'm in there for a little bit, wonder where my friends are going to be, and the guy comes up to me and he bought me a beer. The security guy bought me a beer.
Oh wow!
He wanted you to share your aging secrets.
Yeah.
It's my aging secrets.
Yeah, you aged better than he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe he was hitting on me. I have no idea.
Excuse me. So dry in here.
It's there was, I think it was I think it was Trooper, because the first time I went to, there's one bar I went to that was a bit of a show bar in Halifax, and I remember going there to see Nazareth, and everyone knows Love Hurts. Nazareth is at best a cover band. Like most
Yes,
of their hits
basically.
have been written by other people.
Right. Right.
But they are an amazing show band, and so I got to catch them live, and it was fantastic. Uh, but I was like 14 at the time, and I think that
Mm,
same bar I was back there
mm,
uh, at maybe 16, 17 years old, seeing Trooper,
mm.
uh, classic Canadian
Canadian
band.
rock, yeah.
Yeah, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
It's funny
And
because as soon as you said trooper, I was thinking about ABBA.
No, that's Super
Trooper.
Trooper.
I know.
You know what? I thought you were going to say Iron Maiden because of the Trooper.
Oh. Oh.
But I went to that, and I showed the ID at the door, got in. I was, got a drink and was walking around, and that's when I discovered one of my cousins was a bouncer there. And so he said, "Look,
He
I know
just
how old you
waved
are."
you through. He just
No,
waved you
no,
through.
he came out, put his hand on my shoulder. He says, "Look, I know how old you are. Just don't be stupid."
Yeah.
And
Don't embarrass me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah, there. What else was there? There was. The one bar in the little town that I grew up in. Like
Mhm.
we're talking, I grew up in a small place. I went there once with my brother's ID, and
They caught it or not?
I got stopped right at the door. They
Yeah.
said, "Do you have ID to get in here?" And I said, "Yeah." And I handed my brother's ID, and they looked at it. They said, "Paul, we know Peter," and they handed it back.
Yeah, you see, I never got in anywhere underage. All of my underage drinking was done at house parties because I could not buy liquor, and I couldn't go anywhere where liquor was served. I couldn't get in. So I mean, I was drinking beer at 14, sure, but in house parties, like people would have parties, and progressive parents would purchase beer for people, and some people had connections, had friends or older brothers, or who were who could provide you with rum and vodka and all sorts of other lovely concoctions.
We are
But
reminiscing about these things just not to encourage young people to
no,
drink.
no,
underage.
not at all, not at
I
all.
like the disclaimer.
This channel does not endorse.
No, no.
No.
If you can avoid it, do. If you do imbibe, be reasonable and
Don't
moderate.
be an idiot.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah, like don't make Paul's cousin embarrassed.
Come find you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have only one other drinking story that
Okay, sure. Fire away. While we're on the theme.
why we're on theme.
Yeah.
Dawn, I don't. You still have children living at home, so we probably shouldn't ask you to incriminate yourself. But if you want to, you can still afterwards. But because I had that ID, I sort of bought liquor for a lot of the host parties or the beach parties and whatever. And there was
Right.
one beach party we were going to, and I had like a wad of it was over $300,
Whoa.
which
Back then was like, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody in high school kind of thing, and a shopping list. So I was smart about it, and we went to a place that was a liquor in Nova Scotia is called like in Quebec it's the SAQ,
Right.
in Nova Scotia it's the NSLC or the LC,
Right.
or, the Nova Scotia Liquor Commission.
Right.
So I go in, but we were smart. So I had a friend drive because I still didn't have a license. So I was either 16 or just at the beginning of 17. And he had his parents' station wagon. So he parked out back close to the door. I go in, I've got my shopping list, but I'm dressed for the beach. So I'm wearing Bermuda shorts and a t-shirt. And in my pocket, I have all the money wrapped around the ID. And I've got the list, and I go through, and I have a big cart, and I fill up all the cart, and then I start, I get to the cashier. The cashier looks at me, loads up, rings everything through. They ask for the money, and it's a little less than what I had, so I still had a bit of money around the card. I hand the money over to her, and she says, "Okay, do you have any ID?" I say, "Yeah," and I pull out my brother's ID and put it in. And she looks at it. She looks at me. She says, "This isn't you." And she's got my money right now. She's got everybody's money.
Right.
I said, "No, that's me." She said, "Okay, then when's your birthday?" I said, "September 24th, 1960. When's yours?" Just the right level of snark to be somebody who's annoyed who's being asked for their ID. She said, "Well, anyone can memorize a birth date."
Why did she ask?
Do you have another piece of ID? I said, "No, I'm going to the beach. I only brought what I thought I might need because you guys card me all the time." She says, "Okay, well, write your signature." Because the proof of age card had a signature on it.
Right.
I had never really looked at my brother's signature.
Ooh.
I said, "Sure." And she said, "Do you have a pen?" I said, "I already said I don't have anything in my pockets." Right? She's looking around. She goes to the cashier, like across the way, who's with somebody. She says, "Do you got a pen to hand me?" And the other person says, just a moment. And they're wrapping up with that person. And a security guard comes over. Armed security guard.
Oh, God.
And he comes up. He says, "What seems to be the problem?" She says, "This ID isn't his." So she hands that to him. She gets the pen from the other person, passes me a brown paper bag. And I go, "Well, it's try or fail."
Yeah, right.
And I start to write it. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, that's him." That's the ID to me. I crumple up the bag because I look at the signature. I wasn't even close.
Oh, my God.
And I crumple it up and I put it in my cart with the other stuff that has been scanned already and or rung in because it wasn't scanning back then.
Right. Yeah.
And I push the cart out to my friend's parents' station wagon. He folds it down and he loads everything in. I sit in the passenger seat and just shake. I remain perfectly calm through all of it. But
as soon as you were out of sight, bam,
boom! It was like, oh, it would be
down.
very hard to explain to my parents.
Yeah.
That,
and your brother would be in shit for lending you his ID too.
No, my brother had passed, so
sorry.
That was the extra level.
Okay, that's the extra level of cringe. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Sorry.
Sorry
I had not realized that. Wow. Yeah. He was young. Jeez, when he passed away.
The story.
I was 12, so he was 29 when he passed.
Wow.
And he was the brother who was closest to me in age. So he was the guy that taught me woodcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my dad a bit as well, but he was more present, my brother.
Right.
My dad worked a lot. So.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
You should come on to the storytelling show that I host and tell that story.
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, I want to make sure it's for an appropriate theme.
Yeah.
I got a couple really good stories, but I want to make sure they match the theme of the night.
Right.
Our theme is freedom, however you interpret it. This Sunday, at 7:30 Eastern time.
Where will it be at?
Oh,
it's
always
online?
Zoom. It's always online. Yeah, until it's well and safe for gatherings. And even then, it might be outside when it's warm enough. Because there's a great arts court in Ottawa where there's a beautiful foyer, and we haven't had the show there yet. But if you think that there might be some freedom in getting permission to take all of this alcohol to the beach, you can tell that story this Sunday. Anyway, I'll throw it out there.
Or being teenagers reaching for freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a fun thing.
Young and foolhardy.
Oh, yeah. I've got old and foolhardy stories.
I'm not saying young and foolhardy are absolutely married to each other, but young and foolhardy do coexist.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what other subjects do we broach upon at this moment in time? How's everybody doing?
Things are doing well. There's tickets still available for the Love Doctor tonight.
Oh, good.
I'm dominating this conversation, so please.
No, not at all.
The vaudeville variety show happening at the Wiggle Room. There's at least one booth still available. And we've got a special lineup, and a veteran performer has just asked to be on because they have family in town. So the Miami Minx, who is incredible, is going to be on the show tonight, and they're an amazing performer. They're professional. They've toured as a burlesque performer around the world. They've won awards. They actually refer to themselves as draglesque. So
Okay.
yeah, amazing performer.
What's the drag? What is a draglesque genre? Is it drag and then burlesque?
Yeah, let me show you their picture. How about? Let me see if I can do this quickly. Where to go? Is that it? That is it. So this is the Miami Minx.
Okay.
Cool.
So,
I like when different performance genres combine, because I only, I guess in the last couple of years, found out about nerdlesque. So
yes.
burlesque with a nerd theme. And I thought, how am I just learning about this?
that is also Miami Minx.
Okay.
I like the necklace.
Yes, they spend they do all of their own costuming.
Okay.
So they're incredibly talented performer, incredibly in shape.
Of Cuban extraction, perhaps, being from Miami. No.
Yes.
Okay, I figured as much. Just from the quick pictures that you pointed up there, it looked like it looks Cuban.
Yeah. So very talented performer, and and the thing is, there's so many other talented people on the show tonight too. So let me just quickly run down the list, not in the order of pacing, obviously. But Daniel Caron's going to be there. Lucy Gervais is going to be there. Musician Carlos Candida. He also does comedy occasionally, but he's doing music with us because that's his main thing. He just released a single. Lady Muffin Stuff, who is she does a lot of funny stuff, but she's operatically trained.
Oh, okay.
And then we have It's Petro, which is a burlesque, or sometimes called boylesque. And we have Wild Delilah, who is going to do burlesque while singing torch songs, accompanied by a pianist. So
very classy.
That's really great. I can't imagine. It's a lot of balls to juggle for that performer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They do, they've been voted Monarch of the Mountain for several weeks in a row. So
is that title something from the vaudeville or a title from somewhere else?
It actually started out as King of the Hill when I was running the Kick-Ash comedy show. I'd have the audience vote on their favorite two performers, and those two performers would get paid spots the next week as the host and the closer. So I still had the creative control, say who would host, who would close, but the audience would choose them.
Right.
They'd have the option. They're not forced to do that.
Yes, I remember that from Kick-Ash.
Yeah. And when I started up when we started the competition portion of vaudeville, well, I didn't, King is gender specific, so we went with Monarch, and Montreal is the Royal Mountain, so we went with Mountain instead of Hill. Not to make fun of the size of the hill. And hey, thank you for who just hit like on the video. It's greatly appreciated. Feel free to chime in at any point. Let us know where you're watching from. So yeah, just an amazing, talented performer is going to be tonight. The show starts 8:30 sharp at the Wiggle Room. Doors are at 7:30. I have to be there about 6, just for all the sound checks for all the performers and all that. So it's
are they originally from Miami but now Montreal based?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe they're working on a doctorate.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah.
cool.
So,
So,
Don,
Yes.
well, hold it. No, Mike, I haven't asked you a question yet.
okay.
I know that you were originally weren't going to be here, but you're going to be here.
Yeah.
That was just
But,
sort of a family concern thing.
yeah.
How has your week been?
It's been sort of very non-eventful. It's just
That's been good, isn't it?
it's been good. It's been good. I'm still. I was still sort of. I was talking to one of the people who I've had in the house doing work as a contractor. He's the guy who did our floors and windows and did our did some of a lot of the work that was our upstairs level.
Mhm.
And I was talking with him because we're going to have these windows installed, and I was hoping he would redo the windows that need to be redone for moldings and things. And he also is in position where he has to be extra careful with stuff. He says he's not been taken. He says since the pandemic started, he's not taken any contracts where he's had to work inside, like because of concerns. Because his wife is in the position where she cannot get vaccinated. She's immunocompromised. So he says he's very, very aware of not taking any risks. And I'm reminded, I'm also not taking any risks. I haven't been. Last time I was up on stage was I think January 20th of last year, 2020. So I'm still acutely aware that we're not out of the woods yet.
Was there stages open last year in January?
I'm sorry?
Was there stages open last year in January?
Yeah.
You mean maybe 2019?
No, 2020.
Okay.
You got to remember, it started the whole pandemic started.
Oh, 2020, right?
2020.
Yeah.
It started just as
mid-March.
Mid-March,
in the last year of Trump's term, and he's the one who essentially said, "Oh no, it's going to go away like magic in the spring. It's going to disappear, and everything is fine." And we only have 15 cases. All that bullshit. That was in March of late February, early March of last year. And I think my last time on stage, I think was at the Nest, and it was on January 23rd or 25th. I can't remember the precise date, but it was January. It was late January. And I haven't been on stage since. I mean, I had gotten a spot I'd gotten a spot in August on for the Works at the open mic or was it open mic or Comedy Lab? I can't remember which. And I had to back out of that because my wife said, no, the variants, with the variants had just started coming out, the number 4 variant there, what it was called. I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Delta? No.
The Delta variant. Yeah, thank you. The Delta variant was just starting to rise and stuff. And my wife said, no, I don't want you in a position where you're going to be meeting a bunch of people or being in close quarters with people, and people are not taking. This was before they had the vaccination passports. They had all of that stuff. They were checking things. They were checking people at the door because I'd been to see Claudio the week before, but I could see that there was it wasn't as strict as it could have been. So she said, no, I don't want you going there because, we got to keep my mom safe. And as it turns out, she was scheduled to be getting her third dose, her booster for her COVID shot on Monday. And I took her there, and they miscalculated. The people at the what is it? The health board, the Quebec health people. They have a web. Yeah, they have a website called Click Santé.
Click Santé.
Yeah, Click Santé, where we called in to get her appointment. We called in, gave her the date when she had her last shot. They said, okay, well, here's your date. It's the 17th of November. We get there, and the people at the clinic where she was going to get this shot said, no, ma'am, you have to have had the shot it has to be 6 months since your second shot. And she says, according to the dates, today is 5 months. So somewhere on the phone, the person we talked to, they calculated this way. They went, oh, she's gotten her shot on the 17th of June. Sorry, she's gotten her shot on the 17th of June. So that's June, July, August, September, October, November. 6 months.
Yeah.
Where's the error in that logic?
Starting with the month.
Starting with June. No, first month would have been July. She got the shot on June 17th. So July 17th was the first month. Mm-hmm. So she's going to be getting the shot on December 17th now. But we're there, and I was like, well, what's the difference? They said, no, the government is very strict. It has to be 6 months. So I said, well, somebody somewhere, your people, you're going to get a bunch of people showing up to do with the same problem, because that's what they were doing on the website. That's what we talked to somebody and they said, oh yeah, here we go. Here's your appointment. You've got 6 months. No, we don't. So brilliant minds there at the Quebec Health Board. Very, very competent.
And Don, how has your week been? I mean, your show was amazing, but
well, I think this week has been a lot of planning and trying to stay engaged with the more mundane stuff. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of light behind my head here.
That's okay.
So, yeah, just planning some things for the new year already. I joined a couple of, I guess my approach toward a lot of things is a bit of like an entrepreneur. So I found these great communities of artists who are also entrepreneurs. And I spoke at an event that they held last year. And this year. Already like filing it away as last year. But I spoke at one of their events earlier this year and really liked it. So I kind of spend a lot of time planning with them. So it really seems to be helping with juggling all of the things I'm responsible for. So, I'm kind of, mom is one of the hats I wear. So there's family stuff, there's work stuff, volunteer stuff, and of course, comedy and storytelling and public speaking. So anyway, I need to be cloned is what I'm saying. But
it doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
You're a true Renaissance woman.
Oh, I try. I think of it as the shiny object complex, because
yes.
I haven't yet been tested for ADHD, but
okay.
everyone I've spoken to, and especially people who've been diagnosed late in life, I seem to have a lot in common with how they do things or the things that led to their diagnosis. And I thought, oh, you know what, this works for me, but it would be nice to know if that's the box I fit in.
Yeah, I think getting diagnosed is a good idea, because they would probably be better. Somebody would be in better position to evaluate whether or not it was truly ADHD or you're just easily distracted. Because I can find myself easily distracted as well. I can be focused on something. When I focus on something, I tend to become a little bit obsessive on something. I develop sort of like blinders, tunnel vision. But I can even when I'm really focused on something, if something catches the corner of my eye, I can be easily distracted. But I don't think I have ADHD. I have never had any problem, reading something or absorbing material or when I'm fascinated by a subject, I can just delve into it and just get everything I want out of it without going, no, what, oh, no, I'm like scattered, so
but you know what, there's more to just in the things I've been reading about it. There's a lot more to ADHD than distraction. So but I find that those other things, it's just like, oh, this is so weird. But that being said, I just want to know, because I want hacks. I want to know how to sort of channel this and not have to experience the negative sides. Like I go through burnout a lot. overwhelm a lot. But
Well, when you know more, when you know better, you do better, right? When you know
no,
better,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
I just want all of the solutions so I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
Good,
At
good
the
for
at
you.
the same time, like a diagnosis is not a stagnant thing.
No,
Right.
no.
I mean, I
Exactly.
was diagnosed with clinical depression, and
Mm,
I just went through a reevaluation with a medical professional,
Mhm.
and they said I have how did they word it? They said that I have anxiety with a depressive quotient,
Mm.
okay,
which is a different diagnosis.
right.
So even though I was clinically depressed before, it
Mhm.
turns out that may not have been the correct
Right.
Yeah,
diagnosis.
I
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah,
Mood,
because
mood,
even
mood disorders
yeah,
are notoriously difficult to diagnose precisely. They tend to mimic each other's each different phase of or iteration of a disorder can have cross pollination with others.
Mm.
You can have some of this and some of that, and if somebody who evaluates you sees more of this, they'll pigeonhole you in that direction. So it's very difficult to be precise in that. My
Mm.
yeah,
wife's my wife has suffered through this. She's bipolar type 2, and she was diagnosed as depression. She was diagnosed as type 1 for a long time, which she's not. She doesn't have the highs and lows that type 1 has. And anxiety, uh, somebody also said she had borderline personality disorder.
yeah.
But she's classically a type 2 bipolar, which means that she doesn't have very, very highs and very, very lows, but she tends to do this a lot, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Up and down.
Mm.
So it's just like it's not a roller coaster. It's more like a bumpy road.
Yeah, but sometimes it depends on the therapist. I know that a lot of
Yeah.
therapists in the past have, pegged me for anxiety, but
Hmm.
then the fantastic person I'm working with now has me, was working with me for trauma, right? And I
Right.
thought, oh, interesting. I didn't think it was, but
Hmm.
now I know, and it's actually a lot more sort of like closer to the bullseye
Right.
when it comes to sort of like getting solutions that actually work in real life
Hmm.
rather
There's a
than on
book
paper.
called "Do the Work," and
Mm.
the doctor who wrote it actually, one of the things that they address in several of the chapters is how systemic racism affects BIPOC people in generating trauma, and
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
that means their entire life
Is one
is affected by
traumatic.
trauma.
Totally. No, that's like it's basically one of the if you think of it as a millefeuille,
Yeah.
it's one of the
Yes.
layers
One
for
layers.
sure, or
Yes.
actually several layers for
Yes.
me in that. So, and I didn't realize it because I thought, okay, something horrible happens, like racism, and microaggression, shake it off. But the thing is, the body always keeps the score, and I didn't realize how high the score had gone. But then, there's other stuff too, and I was just like, oh crap.
Yeah.
But that being
The
said, being able to
so
recognize it means you can work on it.
yeah, the mind has a very, very high potential for retaining trauma and bringing it up at the most inopportune times. It just flashes at you because something triggers it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's yeah, PTSD is the major iteration of that. But I think there are probably degrees of PTSD. There's certain traumas that you suffer as a child, or
Mm.
maybe even as an adult, that are sort of like they're traumas. You tend to, okay, that this was not good. This was a really bad thing, but you sort of say, okay, well, I'm moving on now. I will get by. I've addressed it, or you think you've addressed it, and then a couple of years later, you're like, oh, like you're faced with a situation that thing springs to mind, comes up, and colors the actual trauma that you're experiencing in the present moment, and compounds it, and then like then you're
Yeah.
back, like you're almost at square one.
Totally.
So
But
yeah,
having a good practitioner makes a
yeah,
lot of difference because they can
yeah.
see and sort of like dig deep and figure out what's really happening instead of like, going for the quick and easy
Hmm.
diagnosis.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, we mentioned BPD earlier. There's Elsbeth Wright is very good comic in Montreal who has a BPD joke, but has BPD and deals with it through humor as well. But I'm always every time I hear about BPD, I think about one of the greatest Irish comedians, Tommy Tiernan.
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of him before.
Oh,
Oh,
Tommy Tiernan.
you've got yeah. Go YouTube and find a bunch
What
of his
era?
stuff.
Like this
Recent,
current
he's
era?
still working.
He's still working.
He
But
actually the sitcom Dairy Girls. He plays the father.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
He was a couple years ago. I think he was the second highest grossing act in Ireland after U2.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But he has this one joke that really sticks out. He says, "I recently was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Not that I'm on the border of having a personality." But borderline personality means that I am on one side neurotic and on the other side psychotic.
Yeah.
Neurotic is bad for me. Psychotic is bad for you.
Yeah. Excellent joke. Yeah. But go on YouTube and look up Tommy Tiernan, Tiernan.
I got it. Yeah.
And he's got a number of great bits. His bit about the fact that Ireland was sending priests to Africa, which was a great irony because they sent priests to Africa, and now that there's no priests in Ireland, they're bringing in African priests, and he does this one thing about this one African priest. It's hilarious.
Are you thinking my joke?
No. He's got a bit
the Christmas speech.
No. He's got a bit where the guy, the African priest is giving a sermon, and he's talking about Zebediah. He says, Zebediah was up in the tree. Or no, Jesus went for a walk. He says, Jesus went for a walk because he was Jesus. He does not have to explain himself. He says he wanted to walk, and he says, and up there in the tree was Zebedee. He says, come down from the tree, Zebedee. And Zebedee said, Jesus Christ, I will not come down, because he was a stubborn bastard. But it's great. I'm not doing it any justice, but it's hilarious. And look that one up. African priests to Ireland. He says, the irony, we used to send them priests. He says, now we have no more priests. We have to import them.
He's religion, because he is Irish, and it has such a big influence on that nation, is a big part of his comedy.
Yes. And I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember whether it was him or I'm trying to remember the other Moran.
Dylan Moran.
Dylan Moran. It was either Dylan Moran or it was Tommy Tiernan that had a joke about. He says, I just discovered today that vodka is made from potatoes. How the fuck did the Irish miss that? Sweet Jesus, mother! We've been boiling the damn things.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it was Dylan Moran. I thought it was Tommy Tiernan at one point, but I think it was Dylan Moran. He's also very funny. Another great Irish comic.
Okay. Did anyone watch anything interesting? We've got about 10 minutes ish left.
No, I've been behind in watching stuff this week.
Okay.
I have not been really watching anything. My wife has been binge watching Vikings on Netflix, or as I like to call the show, hacking and killing and screaming and killing and more killing and then naked people.
Game of
you only
Thrones,
watch for the last.
It's kind of Game of Thrones-ish, but there's a lot more killing.
Yeah. I used to watch season 1, and I don't remember why I stopped.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm watching Foundation, which I think is pretty great. I believe they just had the season finale.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind us what that show's about?
It's based off of Isaac Asimov's Foundation series.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So it's a fairly broad expanse of a space epic.
Hmm.
Um, and there's vast distances, so time jumps considerably in
Oh.
it. Though the main human empire, humans are the only sentients so far,
Hmm.
um, and they've colonized many worlds. Earth is kind of something in history, uh, but the guy who sort of unified the empire was so worried about its how can I say uh, staying together, and that he was kind of like the only person. He's basically had himself cloned.
Oh, okay.
So he's Cleon the first, and all the other Cleons are his genetic clones and copies who are trained to be him. And there's always to be three. So there is Brother Dusk, which would be the oldest. There's Brother Day, who is the one in charge, and then there's
Dusk, dawn, and day, or
Dawn. Yeah,
day.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Dawn is the youngest of the three.
Hmm. Interesting.
And so traditionally, Dusk acts as an advisor. Dawn is there to learn from the other two, and Day makes the day-to-day decisions.
That's a
And
neat
so
concept. Yeah.
but the thing is, this has led to a certain stagnation.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And so there's somebody who's come up and predicted the fall of Empire.
Ah.
And so he's very upset at that. So he's not necessarily the good guys. The Empire is not the good guys.
Right.
Dawn is still listening. She is
Mm-hmm.
still there. I just want to.
Sorry, I tried to grab something off of camera.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's quite okay. I prepared a banner this time in case you did it again. So it's I like it. It's might seem slow to some people. There's a lot of bursts of energy. It's a question about who's manipulating who on a lot of things. The sci-fi stuff is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a huge influence on so many other sci-fis that followed after.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's Isaac Asimov. There are changes from the books to the series, but
Is
uh,
is is this is this is this
nothing
series of
egregious in my mind.
is this series of books that he had? Was that early on in his career, or is it later work?
1954.
Okay. Okay. So there's probably some influence of the Cold War in
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
Remember the other day we were talking about uh, I was talking about Asimov, and I said there was another sci-fi writer from that era that had a lot of Cold War and a lot of communist, capitalist, political shit in it. It was Arthur C. Clarke.
yeah.
His books. I read a lot of his books, and his books were heavily political. They were couched in science fiction, but if you really sort of took the science sort of aspect from it, like the futuristic and otherworldly stuff, and you just looked at the political shit that was there, it was all about the Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stanislaw Lem was also worth reading,
Yeah.
but that's from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, The Wheel of Time made its debut on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. I would really like to see the Beatles, the new Peter Jackson Beatles documentary, but it's only on Disney Plus, which means you have to buy it. You have to essentially pay for it. But I would really like to get to see that, because it looks so damn good. All of the stuff that he's found in that, I think he had 59 hours worth of behind the scenes stuff from Let It Be, and I saw little snippets of it on TV the other day. They were talking about it, and it looks so. He says it turns the story of the Beatles breakup on its head. He said the conventional wisdom of the Beatles was they were fighting, they hated each other, they couldn't stand to be in the same room as each other. Towards the end, they managed to get together, do that final show for Let It Be, record it, and that was it. They were done. We're out of the building. He says that's not at all what happened. So it's I think for somebody who's I grew up with the Beatles, for somebody who was sort of like affected by the fact that the Beatles were the fucking greatest band in the world and they just imploded, it's a little bit of an eye opener, because it's like, okay, everything we thought we knew was wrong. So it's like, okay, it shines a little bit of it shines a different light on all of them, on John, on George, on Ringo, on Paul. It shines and Yoko is not the villain that they made her out to be. Linda Eastman is also not the a bad character in this story. It's just it turns everything around, and it's like, okay, who knew? Who the fuck knew?
Well, a lot of people have Disney Plus, so
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of other things on that are well worth watching.
Yeah.
So it's if you get the trial for a month, you can
Yeah.
watch your Beatles and maybe get hooked on some other stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll see.
Have
I'll have
you
to pitch
seen-
it to
have
my
you
wife.
seen the Julian Lennon documentary?
No, I have not.
There's a documentary about Julian Lennon and how him and Sean Lennon became friends.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Well, it's nice to hear that they are friends. I
yeah.
was wondering about how that dynamic works.
Well, early on in when Sean came along, Julian really had his nose out of joint, because I mean,
Yeah, he's
Julian felt like his father had abandoned him, basically, and
He wasn't far off.
he wasn't far
Yeah.
off. He wasn't far off. He sort of reconnected with his father towards the very end, just before his father was assassinated.
Which
But-
was a lot of work on the behalf of Paul.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's to see that Julian and Sean have managed to connect. That's like, yeah. And good God, Julian is the spitting image of his father. It's unbelievable. It's like, yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm looking
I think I will look at it. What's it called?
I can't remember.
Okay.
The-
I'll just look up Julian Lennon docu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to definitely watching Wheel of Time, but it's just a question of carving out the time to sit and absorb it. That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
and they released 3 episodes at once, so it's 3
Oh,
hours
really?
right at the start. I mean,
Because I'm going to have to watch all 3. I'm not going to be able to watch
Yes,
just one.
exactly. Just tell your kids it's mommy time.
No, that's it. I need the television. But I also
I
wanna
mean,
watch
you
Ghost.
you might want to break it up once you start watching it. You might
Yeah.
want to break it up. I'm going to be doing a review with it with Erica Tadeo, who hasn't read the books. I'm a
Cool.
big fan of the books, and I'm going to see how our experiences are going to differ. So that's something that'll be released next week.
Nice.
I was a guest on the Iconist podcast, and I got to talk about the Grimjack comic book series,
Cool.
and the fact that the Russo brothers own the rights to it now. They have for a couple years, but they bought the rights. It was announced at the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con, and there has been some movement towards using it. But now that they've broken with Marvel, they might have more freedom to create and do this, since it's not a Marvel character.
Right.
And of course, BattleCom's on Monday, which is Jason Hattrick's going to be there. Scott Andrew Carter, Barry Carter, and AJ Young. Those are the panelists. Erica and I are going to be hosting that. So it's going to be fun. Sorry, Don, I cut you off. I didn't mean
No,
to.
no. I'm just saying, yeah, excellent for BattleCon.
And yeah, BattleCom, always a lot of fun. It's 8:00 on Monday. Tune in, if you're watching on YouTube, go to the channel that this is on, and you'll see the link to the BattleCom channel, so you can subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming stuff there. I'm going to be posting more geek content on that channel just to kind of get the views up rather than just once a month BattleCom, but we're not going to flood you, so make sure you do subscribe, ring the bell so you hear about that. My guests today have been Don Xanklin right up there. It's Don Xanklin Comedy on Instagram. With me as well has been Mike Gamache. Mike is over there. See if I can get this right. I got to realize this is not a mirror. Mike is there, and Mike invites you to friend him on Facebook because he doesn't do any other social media.
Yeah.
And I'm Paul Ash. All my shows are kind of linked there.
Oh, and
You
I forgot
guys-
to mention,
Oh.
I'm on at Yuck Yucks tonight.
Hey,
Yes,
congrats.
Ottawa at the new
Congrats.
location. What's the address for
thank
the new
you.
location?
It's 100 Kent Street, the basement
Okay.
of the lower level of the Marriott Hotel. So it's very
Marriott,
swanky,
yes.
as another comic described it. But it's great dinner opportunity and a show.
Hey,
Oh. Dinner show. Go see Don Xanklin tonight.
go see Don. Go see Don.
And I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in, checking out with us as we check in, checking out when we check in.